Have you ever wondered why some people have the uncanny ability to make others do exactly what they want? Welcome to the enigmatic world of manipulation, a realm that exists in the shadows of our everyday interactions. It's a phenomenon as old as human society itself, a subtle dance of influence and control that's as prevalent as it is potent. At its core, manipulation is psychological warfare, a strategized play on human emotions and perceptions. It's a tool that, when wielded with expertise, has the power to shape reality as we know it. But like any tool, its potential for misuse is vast, turning it into a weapon of deceit and coercion. Understanding manipulation, then, is not just about decoding the tricks of the trade. It's about equipping ourselves with the knowledge to recognize when we're being played, to stand our ground against covert control. Unraveling the threads of manipulation can reveal a dark and fascinating world. Imagine a puppeteer pulling the strings, dictating every move of the marionette. That's a manipulator at work. Just as a skilled puppeteer knows which strings to pull to make the puppet dance, laugh or cry, a manipulator knows how to play with people's emotions to get them to behave in certain ways. Let's delve into the dark world of manipulation and uncover some of the techniques that manipulators often use. First off, there's gaslighting, named after the 1944 film Gaslight. This technique involves making someone question their own reality. Picture this. A person consistently tells their partner they didn't say something, even though they absolutely did. Over time, the partner starts doubting their own memory, their own sanity. That's gaslighting. Next, we have the classic playing the victim card. This is when a manipulator portrays themselves as the helpless victim, irrespective of the truth. Consider a situation where a person constantly speaks about their hardships, over-exaggerating their struggles, just to gain sympathy and control the emotions of others. They make themselves the poor me character in every narrative, thereby manipulating others to side with them or do their bidding. Lastly, let's talk about exploiting insecurities. This is a dark technique where the manipulator preys on the insecurities of their target. Imagine a boss who constantly belittles an employee, highlighting their every shortcoming, making them feel incompetent. This shakes the employee's self-confidence, making them more susceptible to the boss's manipulative tactics. These are just a few examples, but the realm of manipulation is vast and deep. Manipulators are masters of human psychology, knowing just when to pull, when to push, and when to let go. They understand the human psyche so well they can make a person dance to their tunes, just like a puppeteer with a marionette. Just like a puppeteer, a manipulator knows exactly which string to pull to get the desired reaction. So how do you cut the strings and escape the puppeteer's control? The answer lies in the art of defense. This involves a few key strategies that can help you counteract manipulation and regain your autonomy. Firstly, establish boundaries. It's essential to know where you end and another person begins. This is not just a physical boundary, but an emotional one as well. It's about recognizing what's your responsibility and what isn't. You have the right to your feelings, thoughts, and actions. No one else should dictate them for you. Next, develop self-awareness. Understand your personal strengths and vulnerabilities. Manipulators often prey on weaknesses, so knowing your own can help you guard against such tactics. Self-awareness also involves recognizing your own worth and not allowing anyone to make you feel less than. You are worthy and deserving of respect, and anyone who tries to convince you otherwise is trying to manipulate you. Another critical aspect of self-awareness is understanding your emotional triggers. What makes you angry, sad, guilty, or afraid? Manipulators often use these emotions to their advantage. By recognizing your triggers, you can prevent yourself from reacting impulsively and falling into their trap. Then consider seeking professional help. If you're stuck in a manipulative relationship or situation and can't seem to find a way out, a professional like a counselor or therapist can provide valuable insight and tools to help you navigate and ultimately break free. Finally, remember that it's okay to say no. Many of us are conditioned to avoid conflict and to always be accommodating. But sometimes saying no is the most powerful defense against manipulation. It's a clear line in the sand that shows you won't be pushed around. These strategies are not foolproof, and they require practice and patience. But with time and persistence, you can learn to defend yourself against manipulation and reclaim your power. Remember, a puppeteer is powerless without a puppet. You have the power to cut the strings and free yourself from the puppeteer's control. Let's delve into a real-life example. Meet John, a master of the sinister art of gaslighting. John was a master manipulator. His weapon of choice? Gaslighting. This psychological ploy involves manipulating someone into questioning their own sanity, their own reality. This tactic is as subtle as it is destructive. It's not overtly aggressive, yet it has the potential to erode the victim's self-confidence, their trust in their own judgment. John would sow seeds of doubt so subtly that his victims wouldn't even realize what was happening. He'd dismiss their concerns as paranoia, their memories as faulty. He'd create a narrative where he was the only reliable source of truth. This is the essence of gaslighting. The manipulator becomes the sole beacon of reality in the victim's world. Now let's talk about Jane, John's primary victim. Jane was a bright and independent woman, but John's relentless gaslighting had her questioning her own mind. She felt like she was walking in a fog of confusion, unable to trust her own instincts. Jane was trapped in a reality constructed by John. But Jane was not helpless. She started to notice patterns in John's behavior, began documenting instances of his manipulation. She sought help from a psychologist who understood the mechanics of gaslighting. She learned to trust her instincts again, to question John's narrative. Jane started to break free from John's gaslighting. The process wasn't easy, nor was it quick. But Jane's story is a testament to the power of self-belief and the importance of seeking professional help when dealing with manipulative individuals. It shows that even when one is trapped in the fog of gaslighting, there's always a way out. Understanding the mechanics of gaslighting, recognizing the patterns, and seeking professional help are crucial in combating this form of manipulation. Knowledge is power, and in the face of manipulation, it can be a lifeline. John's story serves as a stark reminder of the power of manipulation. Now, let's turn our attention to Sarah, who played the victim to manipulate those around her. Sarah was a master at the art of manipulation. She was adept at playing the role of the hapless victim, a damsel in distress. Her technique was simple yet effective. She would paint herself as the perpetual victim, constantly suffering at the hands of a cruel world. This strategy was designed to elicit sympathy and guilt from those around her, compelling them to come to her aid and fulfill her desires. Sarah's manipulation was subtle. She would weave tales of her misfortunes, real or imagined, with such authenticity that it was difficult to question their veracity. She'd exploit the innate human tendency to empathize and help those in need. She'd make those around her feel guilty for her plight, and in their guilt, they'd bend over backward to alleviate her suffering. But over time, the people around Sarah began to notice patterns. They realized that she was always the victim, that she never bore responsibility for her predicaments. They noticed that she would only ever seek their help when it served her interests. They saw that she was not a victim, but rather a puppeteer, skillfully manipulating their emotions to serve her ends. Once they recognized Sarah's manipulation, they began to distance themselves. They learned to respond to her tales of woe with empathy, but not guilt. They realized that they could support her without enabling her manipulative behavior. They learned to set boundaries, to say no when necessary, and to not feel guilty about it. In the end, Sarah's manipulation lost its power. Her tales of victimhood fell on deaf ears as those around her learned to see through her manipulative tactics. They understood that while empathy is a virtue, it should not be exploited. They learned that guilt should not be a tool for control, but a guide for personal growth and accountability. Sarah's tale is a testament to the importance of recognizing manipulation and taking steps to protect ourselves. Manipulation is a dark art, one that can cause untold damage if left unchecked. In the labyrinth of human interactions, the puppeteer's strings can often be hard to see, yet the effects of their pull are all too real. We've journeyed through the murky waters of manipulation, exploring the insidious techniques used by those skilled in this dark craft. From gaslighting to playing the victim, these strategies can be as subtle as a whisper or as blatant as a shout. But remember, awareness is your shield. your beacon in this shadowy world. The art of defense is not just about spotting the puppeteer, but also knowing how to cut the strings. Understanding the mechanisms behind manipulation is your first line of defense. It's about recognizing the signs, questioning the motives, and trusting your instincts. In the face of manipulation, knowledge is power. Use it wisely.